Prime Minister Ehud Olmert and others across the political spectrum today condemned the behavior of Betar fans last night when they booed during a tribute to former Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin during last night's match against Maccabi Haifa in Kiryat Eliezer. "I'm ashamed and appalled," said the Prime Minister, whose devotion to the Betar team is well known. Olmert said that authorities take a zero-tolerance approach toward this type of behavior. Last night's game coincided with the 12th anniversary of the Rabin assassination, and a moment of silence was held before the match kicked off. The Betar fans, however, booed and whistled as the players of both teams stood silently on the field. Fans were also heard chanting songs of praise in honor of Rabin's murderer, Yigal Amir. The Israel Football Association said the team will face disciplinary action.
And joining us now in the studio to talk about what happened at last night's match is Jeremy Last, sports editor with the Jerusalem Post. Jeremy, thanks for coming in this evening. This unseemly behavior at the soccer match last night, was it widespread or was it just a handful of troublemakers?
As far as I saw, and I've seen also in the afterwards on the television, seems to be a large amount of the Betar fans, not the Haifa fans. The Haifa fans were on three sides of the pitch, and the Betar fans behind the goal. There were about 2,500 of them, and it was a lot of them.
How were the other fans reacting?
This was the thing, that it was quite clear that the Haifa fans were very upset about what happened, and they all started booing. So after about 30 seconds, it was the whole crowd booing, because they were booing the people who were booing.
Is this a product of the team and its fans in general, or is it the fact that this team, it goes deeper? They don't allow Arab players on the team. I mean, how widespread is this?
I think this is the main point, and the point that people are somewhat skipping over, that really is a very deep-rooted problem, that it's a problem of not necessarily fans of Betar in general, but a large group of people who do support Betar. These are very right-wing people who grow up in this sort of environment, and it's not necessarily only them, it's their parents and people in their neighbourhood. And I think that the society problem is the one that needs to be dealt with, not necessarily a problem with a team or with fans of a particular team.
Well, you bring up an interesting point when you talk about society at large. Now, many commentators today are suggesting that we somehow educate the players, somehow educate the fans. Is this a realistic concept?
I think it is, in a long-term way. I think that there's an effort being made in the moment with people like the New Israel Fund to have these sort of publicity stunts against violence and against racism. And I think you really need to go much deeper and go into the communities, because we know where these people are from. They're the lower class communities from places like Kiryat Yovel, from Katamonim. These are the people who support Betar, the right-wing Sephardis, who more than the most identify with the team. And if you can get people to go into those societies, go into the schools, go into the communities and speak to the people, then maybe you can perhaps start to change the attitude. But regular publicity stunts, having the players wearing a T-shirt, isn't necessarily going to do so much.
This is not the first time there's been some sort of unseemly behavior on the part of these fans. But someone might suggest we should perhaps not allow the younger children to attend these matches until the behavior improves, because it only influences them or educates them to follow along in this path. Would you agree with that?
I think that if you look perhaps at Betar, and I don't think it's only a Betar problem, I think that's a point that should be made, that there's this sort of problem at clubs all around the country, at Maccabi Tel Aviv, even Hapoel Tel Aviv, at Bnei Yehuda especially in Tel Aviv, and other smaller clubs. But I think it is a problem, and there are families that I'm sure will be reticent to send their children to watch these teams. But I think there's two things. First of all, the main sort of rowdy supporters, they all sit in a certain section. For example, in Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem, it's in the Mizrahi, the East Stand, whereas in the West Stand, it's much quieter and more calm. But also, as I was saying before, it's a deep-rooted problem of society, and often you'll see a lot of young kids, 12, 13 years old, who are in the Mizrahi, in this section with the rowdy fans, and they've got this attitude, they're singing songs about Yigal Amir, and you have to think, where does it come from? It probably comes from their families and their parents, and perhaps the parents and the families are supportive of it, of these sort of people.
Well, Jeremy, I'm afraid we're out of time. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you for sharing your insight with us.
No problem.
Thank you. In other news, Prime Minister Olmert says that he